Hi guys, I'm back with another tips video here. This time it's the Welsh 3 peaks. Completed it about 3 weeks ago now. So I thought I'd share a few tips with you, 10 tips here to try and get you through this Welsh 3 peaks. So here we go. Tip number 1, order of play. I mean, my personal preference on this challenge was to start at Penny Fan in South Wales and I worked my way north. A lot of people tend to start with Snowdon, to be honest, and leave Penny Fan till last, the easiest one to last, which is fair enough. But me personally, I got Penny Fan out of the way first, then to Cadair Idris, then Snowdon. So yeah, the order of play for me: Penny Fan, Cadair Idris, left Snowdon to last, personally, in the morning when I was fresh. Number 2, timings. The timings for these 3 mountains were, when I've done this, 11 AM on the Saturday till 11 AM on the Sunday. So I started Penny Fan at 11, aimed to finish for 12:30. I was about 10 minutes over, so I took some drone footage. Drove to Cadair Idris, 2.5 hour drive, got there at 3. Started Cadair Idris at 3:15 with an aim to finish at 7. I drove to the accommodation. I stayed at a local campsite about 20 minutes from Cadair Idris. Got up at 3:15 on the Sunday morning. Got all my stuff together, left at 3:30 AM, drove to Penny Pass, started Snowdon 5 AM. Finished at 11 AM, so that was the timings for me personally. Saturday 11 till Sunday 11. So I found it quite good, to be honest. Wasn't any rushing in the morning and that, so I didn't have to get up at 4 AM on the Saturday. So yeah. Another point on that, driving times. I mean, for me, from the West Midlands to Penny Fan was 2.5 hours. Penny Fan to Cadair Idris is 2.5 hours, yeah. Cadair Idris to Snowdon 1.5 hours, and then Snowdon home was 2.5 hours, so the total driving was 9 hours. On tip number 3, stay fueled up. You want plenty of food, plenty of fluids. When you're on the mountains, it takes a lot of energy out of you, to be honest. I'd recommend 2 litres of fluids a day. Keeps your muscles more loose and helps you with the tough ascents, especially Cadair Idris and Snowdon. They really are proper mountains, man. Personally, the food I took was 2 cheese and ham salad sandwiches, 2 bags of salt and vinegar crisps, 2 Nature Valley protein bars, 2 bananas, an apple of Kit Kat and a bag of salted peanuts. So yeah, you want plenty of food, plenty of fluids. Tip number 4, feet. I'd highly recommend using Ingingy toe socks, to be honest, to prevent or at least combat blistering. I suffer with blisters myself. They've been significantly reduced since I use these toe socks. I'd also tape up any areas that are liable for blistering, possibly maybe a little toe, big toe. I use micropore tape for that, just to have a little bit of extra protection. But yeah, think about your feet and the toe socks, very helpful. You might want some extra energy boosts, so that's tip number 5 now. Personally, I think salts are better than sugar. Help give you more energy. Sugar can help for sure, but salts give you more of a boost, I think. So salty and vinegar crisps and salted peanuts are good for that. I also personally recommend the SIS Electrolyte tablets. They give you a nice little boost. You just drop it into 500 ml of water. So yeah, I took a couple of them as well along the way. So that's tip number 5. Tip number 6. Research, really. It involves 3 mountains. So I'd recommend doing some other hikes before you do this straight off the bat. Some people can just go for it and succeed, but it's few and far between really. On these mountains you've got exposure, twists and turns. They can be dangerous places, so you need to be prepared. Do some smaller hikes and mountains, you know, to get in the groove for this. And you know, I've done all three separately before I've done them all together, so that could be another option. Also, one thing to bear in mind, if you do it at the end of September when I done it, you're going to be in the dark for a couple of hours on Snowdon from like 5 AM to 7 AM. So you need to tread carefully along the peak track there, and you'll need a head torch. I mean, personally, I'd do it in like June, July, or you know, mid-August. But I was too busy and doing other stuff. I was in Norway and that's how I had to fit it in here. But best to do it like in the height of summer, I think, really, if you're going to do it. Tip number 7, you're against the clock. Remember, you've only got 24 hours to get up and down these mountains. That's the ascent and descent. Bear in mind there's quite a bit of driving as well, depending on where you live in the country. I mean, I had sort of 6.5, I mean, it was 6.5 hours really, all in on a challenge kind of thing. So I had 2.5 hours in the morning to get to Pennyfan, then 2.5 hours to Cadair Idris, and then an hour and a half to Snowdon the next morning. But there's an actual total of 4 hours driving in the challenge time, in the 24 hours. 2.5 hours from Pennyfan to Cadair Idris, and an hour and a half from Cadair Idris to Snowdon. So bear in mind you're driving, and you might want to add a bit of extra time for traffic. You never know. There could be road closures. It's best to check these traffic apps and news before you go. The good thing about this, I suppose, is that you do actually get a bit of respite. I don't think it's not like the National 3 Peaks, which I want to do next year. You've actually got 6 or 7 hours rest time in between if you want it. You know, if you manage to get a bit of sleep at a campsite, great. Yeah. So remember, there's 4 hours drive time really in the challenge, but there's 9 hours in total, depending on where you live. There's 2.5 hours there and back from there, plus. Yeah. Yeah, bear in mind drive time. Tip number 8, training. I'd recommend being in a decent shape, to be honest, when you're attempting this challenge. I mean, I've been walking and running since 2018, hiking since early 2023. So I've had a few years of experience really. Personally, I run like 2 or 3 times a week, at least 5k. Sundays I'll try and do a bit more, like 10k, and I'll hike every other Sunday. So I mean, I'm in a decent shape really. You want to try cutting out eating the junk food in the week. I mean, I still eat a bit of rubbish of a weekend, but generally Monday to Friday I'll try and eat more healthy stuff, and you know, lay off eating the crisps and chocolate bars and stuff. Makes it easier on yourself if you're in a decent shape ascending these mountains. It's not as easy as you think. I'd also add a note about scrambling over rocks, because the peak track in Cadair Idris, there's a bit of a scramble, to be honest, along. It's nothing technical. I recommend doing a few scrambles, and I've done a scrambling course with a mountaineering company earlier in the year, and it was really good. You know, I'm not getting paid or anything for plugging out. I'm just saying, like, Matt's a good guy who runs a mountaineering company. He gives you some good good knowledge on scrambling, especially like I want to do creep gok in the future. I've done striding edge and it gives me confidence to do that. I think without that course, you know, I wouldn't have had the confidence to do it. You know, it's really good. And like I say, Cadair Idris in the peak track, there is a bit of scrambling, so be aware of that. That was tip number 8. Tip number 9. Tits on the brain. Right. Tip number 9. Equipment. Make sure you take some waterproof layers, dry clothes. I took 3 or 4 spare t-shirts, spare socks. You want a good hiking jacket, good hiking boots. I'd recommend a cap, woolly hat. You'll need a head torch for in the dark. You know, if you do it at the end of September. You want dry bags for inside your bag, hand sanitizer, spare phone charger, water bottles, loose change, bank card. Bear in mind the parking fees. Yeah, be well equipped in these mountains. And I'll just put an extra thing there. You'll need an head torch in the dark. That's super useful, and it's, you know, easy basically. Make sure everything's fully charged as well. Cameras, drones, torches. Get everything fully charged. Be well equipped for sure. That's tip number 9. Last and final tip, number 10, weather. Be aware of the weather when doing this challenge. I was lucky, to be honest. I'm in the Yorkshire 3 Peaks, it was rainy most of the time. But this one, it never rained, so I got lucky. But I've been on many mountains and peaks when the weather is really bad with high winds, driving rain, cold. So as I said before, make sure you got the appropriate kit to stay dry. Because when you're soaking wet, it's not nice, to be honest with you. So check the news, weather apps, and try and gauge it where you get decent weather. I know it can never be predicted, but you know, 5-6 days before you try and plan to try and do it when the weather looks alright, because most of the time it is right, the weather forecast, so it's worth trying to do it in better weather, but you can never predict that. So I'm going to put all these tips again as a downloadable printable PDF, so the link will be in the description for that. So yeah, that's the 10 tips for the Welsh 3 Peaks challenge. So good luck with it if you do it, and all the best. And if apologise about the accent, if you like these tips and these videos and that, I want to be doing it for a long time, so like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the mountain soon. Cheers guys.